Hello, I'm Robin and welcome to Modular. Today we're exploring the RYK Night Rider. I'll bring you in a moment, but just to try to give you a little bit of a flavour of what this is about. No, I don't imagine you're any clearer at all. And that's okay. What we're experiencing, what we are enjoying along here is 4 resonant bandpass filters flowing, toing, throwing, putting themselves about, rocking past each other, modulating around each other, bending out, bending in, shifting, panning, kind of morphing, I guess. It's a fascinating module that has a lot of different layers and ways that you can approach it. RYK likes to call it a Quad Sequential Resonator. And so in this video we're going to have a poke around to see if we can work out kind of what it is, what it's doing, where it should be going, what perhaps you could do with it. Just going to calm things down a little bit. So what we have to play with is these 4 knobs at the top. They're going to provide us with the center frequency of each of these bandpass filters. So you can just play with those. You can move them about and you can filter stuff. You can see on the display here the effect of me moving these things about. But then it's more than that. You can adjust the individual levels of each. You can adjust the individual panning of each. So as with all RYK modules, it's thoughtfully designed, mindfully put together, constructed in such a way that it flows and it inspires and it finds interesting ways to do things. And the next thing it has is it has 6 slots into which you can store how you want your bandpass filters configured. So with each one you've got a little dot along the front here, and you can move to each one of them using the positional knob, and you can either step directly to them or you can slide to them by increasing the slew, which is rather delicious. And each one automatically saves whatever it was you were doing. So you can put your bandpass filters around the place and then go to the next slot Move those around differently. Go to the next slot, do the same. And then you can move back between them. And morph between them. And modulate between them. Glide, slew, slip and slide between them. You can sweep them all together to push the center frequency up here and then pull it back down again. So you can use it like a regular filter. You can stick an envelope in and make that happen. Should we do that? We could probably make that happen. We'll do that in a minute. And if you get bored of all that band passing, you can then modulate it, you can wobble it, you can ping those resonators so that they generate sounds all by themselves. You can get into comb filtering and Karplus tunnel syndrome, whatever that is, thinking about, and explore all those interesting, esoteric parts of filtering. And just when you think you've sorted it out, you can kind of turn it into a phaser. We'll get to all this. So enough of this mucking about. Let me bring the camera in, let's focus in on the module and see if we can tease out of it exactly what the heck is going on. So let's see if we can unpack what's going on in here. You have 4 filters represented by these lovely LEDs, 4 knobs that control them. They can control the frequency, of each one. They can also control the level of each one independently, and also the panning. Then have a resonance control, which will bring in those frequencies to make those bands narrower, depending on the mode that we're on, because there are several modes. In fact, let's show you those just by using a little bit of noise. So I'm using the noise output from the Deckard's voice, sticking that in there. Woo! Going to start off with a 6 dB band pass, and if I poke the resonance up, you will see the different bands emerge out of the noise. You also have a sort of a global main frequency control here, with which you can sweep them all together. Of course you can modulate that. Yes, of course you can play a tune with that. What do you think? But we will get on to more shenanigans like that later on. There's also a 12 dB. And then there's a variable one, and the variable one really is dependent on the resonance. And you can see the LEDs beautifully expand to show you exactly the width of each band. So they, I would say, are the main filter functions. But there are a couple of other modes as well. There's a Karplus Strong mode with cone filtering. There's a couple of strange in-series modes which let you do all sorts of phasing and flanging type effects, which we'll get to. But as it is, it's just quite a beautiful thing. Now you have 6 different slots in which you can save configurations. So you can step between them with these buttons. And of course you can move through them using the position knob. That becomes an interesting idea by itself. You've also got this slew knob. If you turn that up, then the movement between them becomes a morph rather than a jump. Now you can modulate the position. Or you can sequence it. Now using a clock on the clock input here, you can step through each of the individual steps. If I hold this, I think I can choose how that's going to work. So we can either go one direction forwards, one direction backwards. I can change the time division on that. There we go. Make it move a bit faster. Turn the slew down so they get there a bit quicker. Then I can change the direction either randomly, backwards and forwards in a ping pong style, or forwards. I quite like the ping pong myself. I've got the rate tied to the arc, the same as the LFO, if that makes sense, same as the clock. You can also freeze bands, so everything else can change except for that one, and then I can change that one by itself. And any changes that you make are stored at whatever point you're on the 6 slots. So let's try another sound source. Let's try the output of the choral here, which I can put in to stereo, because the input is actually stereo. You just need a a splitter cable that's going to stereo input to go into there. This cable comes with it. Let's see if we can work out what on the heck is going on here with all of this. We could try using the envelope here to adjust the frequency. I bring the gate into the envelope there. Let's try a couple of those other modes. So Karplus Strong. Use a little bit of an LFO into there. Take that delay out for the moment. It's really so nice. It has this incredible vintage flavour to it, which is just a glorious thing. It doesn't have to be polyphonic. We can take the output from the Deckard's voice again. Let's have a look at the first all pass mode. Always gets very loud. So this time you use the resonance knob to mix between the original and the delay through the filter version, which gives this wonderfully juicy phaser. And there's one more mode which uses a different bass filter with a variable mix of dry signal through the resonance again. So dry and then wet. Now there are a bunch of presets built in which are based on vowels and also based on chords. So let's load up a couple of those. Let's go to our first one here. You hold the red button, move number 4. I'm going to go to just load up some of the vowel sounds. That one in there. That one in there. That one in there. That one in there. Now, hopefully, We get some different formants. Ooh, let's use our coral again. Right, let's try something different. Let's try pinging the filter. So I don't have anything going into it this time. I'm going to take something from the compass here, give it that a clock, take an output, plug that into the input. Now what's quite interesting is that there's got a bunch of chords built in also. So let's stick those in. So there you are, the Night Rider. Not as dramatic as an 80s TV show may be, but it's that movement and that subtlety that I really enjoy. It's got a simplicity to it. It's got an obviousness to it which throws itself out visually so you can follow exactly what's going on. It's not trying to fool you into anything. This is 4 bandpass filters doing its filtering thing. And ultimately it works, brilliantly at shifting sound, shifting harmonics. It moves things around. It's forever playing with your ears and your sense of what the pitch actually really is. It's that flanging, it's that phasing, it's that band passing that you find in big synths, and yet this could be sitting in your modular. So while I've been playing with it with some polyphonic sounds, because ultimately that is where we're perhaps most familiar with bandpass filters, it can work just as well on something like the Descartes voice or any other oscillator, just using sine waves and square waves coming out of there running through it, and it's eating those up. You can tie it in with an envelope to start shaping it in a more of a traditional low pass filtery kind of way, but I don't necessarily know that that's the point. But then what is the point? 4 filters, 4 bandpass filters, what on earth can I do with all of that? Well, I don't know. I'm more of a low pass filter man myself, I have to say. But the opportunities it gives you in sculpting and shaping and bringing, I mean, when you're in perhaps a larger piece of music going on, because I've remained focused purely on this, then bandpassing can very much cut your way through a lot of other stuff. And so it becomes a useful utility in mixing and in shaping, as well as an effect for shifting and moving and flanging. It is stunningly presented, wonderfully put together. I'm trying, sitting here thinking, what could it have that it doesn't have? What am I missing here? Is there something which is not quite going quite right? I mean, the frequency input is a little bit of a trial because you dial it either positive or negative like you would with putting an envelope in. But if you want to play it via pitch, in order to get that 1 volt per octave, you've got to wang it all the way up, which means it kind of disappears at one end or the other, which makes it difficult to address from the keyboard, funnily enough. The only other thing would be a bypass button, so I can run something through it and not use it until I want to then bring that in. That would be the only other thing, I think. But otherwise, yeah, totally. Quad Sequential Resonator, definitely doing its thing. I love the way it can jerk from one stage to another, or you can make it, you can slow it through with that slew. I think that's a brilliant thing. Because that stepping through is really nice. Then you can bring that slew in. And it introduces this slide, it introduces this movement from one thing to another, which is just gorgeous. And you can turn it up so far that it never reaches where it's trying to get to. And it just entertains itself by moving about pretty much where it is. There's a ton of creative things you can do with it, far beyond what I fiddle with. I'm just using it at a very basic level, I feel. And once you start introducing modulators to it, it really starts taking off all by itself. It's a great thing. That's a Night Rider from RYK. Really interesting. I'm looking forward to the next thing. The next thing on RYK is another FM synth, similar to the vector wave, which I've deliberately not used because I think you'll hear a lot of those two things together, and that's probably exactly what they were designed for. But I wanted to bring other sounds to the table to see what that would do with it. But coming up soon, RYK have another FM synth which uses a similar idea to the vector wave, but just much more on the surface. So you can dial in simple FM tones, simple operator loveliness. But otherwise, the elegance of the Night Rider is just simply superb. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. In the meantime, go make some tunes. Yeah, how juicy is that? How juicy? That's just totally amazing. Totally amazing. If we tried sticking that into the envelope output and stopped it fiddling around, oh, that's so nice. So I don't know about you, but that has so much to give. I mean, tons of stuff in there. And you're fiddling about with it and you're finding it. It's not because I meant on purpose to do something quite so juicy and chewy and just gnarlable, which was wobbling. It was like it was grabbing hold of your internal organs and just going, ooh, as it was moving about. It just felt like you were just going to turn into some kind of goo and squeeze all over the place. Just amazing. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fiddling, sticking stuff in, putting in modulation, and stuff comes out. That's the kind of module that I like, something that I can explore and find the unexpected in. I mean, he ended up with this extraordinarily epic tones coming out of the Deccar's voice. Stuff that, I mean, the voice by itself is fantastic. It can do these amazing things, but I've had the filter off. I'm not using the filter in the Deccar's voice. I'm purely using square wave and sawtooth coming through this, and it's this, the Night Rider, that's doing all the business. Well, that's a load of fun. On to the next thing. Hope that was useful. In the meantime, go and make some tunes.